I'm Russ Wigginton, president of the National Civil Rights Museum, and I am here with the incomparable Cheryl Miller, who is a 2025 recipient of the National Civil Rights Museum's Sports Legacy Award. Cheryl Miller, pleased to be with you today.
Thank you, my friend.
When did you know that basketball was going to be such a important play such an important role in your life?
I would love to say I knew at the very beginning when I picked up a basketball, but at the time it was just a way of entertaining my two older brothers, and my younger brother Reggie, of course, plays in the NBA, and it was definitely something that came naturally. And the more that I got better, the more opportunities that I was able to provide myself in education, college, and do some very spectacular things.
So while you were performing on the court, you were also doing some other things as a byproduct of what you did on the court. You were inspiring a lot of people, not just girls, but boys, to be their best selves. When you were in college in particular, did you realize that was part of what you were doing for society?
Again, Russ, I would like to say I knew what I was doing, but I was doing something that I loved. Obviously something that I was very good at, and something that provided and opened a lot of doors. I was shocked at the amount of attention I received. I thought that every girl could dunk. I thought that every girl could do the finger roll over the rim. I thought that every girl could step back and shoot the big shot and hit the big shot and make the big play. But I didn't realize that at the time, that I had a voice. And thank you. A lot of thanks to my mom and dad for giving me the opportunity to lay such a firm foundation on what's right, what's wrong, how to speak up. When sometimes speaking up meant that it could complicate your life, and to be bold. So with those footsteps that they created, that's what I tried to live, the very best version of myself every day.
Well, you've done a tremendous job of that. When you think about how much has changed or not changed, if you will, as far as opportunities, in particular for women in sports and in basketball, perhaps in particular, what are some of the major distinctions from the time that you were playing compared to today?
We don't have enough time for that, Russ. We don't have enough time for that. But I will say exposure, the media coverage. Obviously, with the advancement of women's basketball, the WNBA. You look at the accomplishments financially, the benefits. Now we're looking at Unrivaled, another 3-on-3 league, very well televised, very successful, promoted by women. And current women are great female basketball players, and and the list goes on and on. But with all the things that we have accomplished, Russ, we're still not where we need to be.
Sure.
And so that's the goal, is to try to get as many people to the table and seated comfortably, and to continue to pay it forward. Very
much aligned with the history of the civil and human rights movement that Dr.
Absolutely.
King and others worked so hard to lead and direct for our society. Do you think of the pioneering efforts that you were a participant in as in that same vein? And do you think about those as part of the civil rights movement, if you will?
Not nearly as much as I should. I don't think any of us do. And on a lesser level, for me, and this is the example my mom used to say all the time, Mother's Day is every day. And that's how we should view MLK. Every day is a day for us to make advancement as a people, male and female. And we should be at a point where we can we may differ and have disagreements, and our opinions may be slightly different, but we stop listening. And we are really drawing so many firm lines in the sand where we don't even want to either negotiate, compromise, or listen. Have we devolved so much that we can no longer just sit down at the table and have differing opinions?
Yes, the spirit of civility is something we talk about and think about and act upon here at the museum a lot. This aspect of really equity in the context of women in sports in particular is something that I think is still very much still in a conversation that we need to have in our country.
Well, it's a daily conversation that we need to have, like you said. If we are still at the point where we're having just to get the basic needs of budgetary, the same as the men, wait facilities being provided that are equal and equitable. If we are still having to fight for those tiny things on whether your jerseys are clean or if they're dried properly, we're still having to deal with issues like that. Why? And it's still the haves and the have-nots. And that's what we're still fighting, and we'll continue to fight, but we have to have more of people like myself and others that do and use their platforms in the appropriate ways, but we need more women to step up and really provide opportunities for the younger generation, and give them a blueprint.
Yep.
Give them a blueprint.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk a little bit about strategy for doing that. And my perception is you have been strategic about how you have helped lead and advocate for equity for women in sports and beyond. Let me throw this at you. You tell me if my perceptions are right.
Okay.
You understand that you have a relatively big stick, and you opt not to use it very often, but when you use it, you know how to use it. Is that fair?
Extremely fair. Extremely perceptive. I'm the type of person with a very large stick. When I swing, I don't miss. I can't afford to miss. So yes, I'm very strategic.
And when you think about historic civil rights leaders, women in particular, is there anyone that you've modeled your strategy after, if you will?
It would really be brilliant if I said yes. I'm a sponge, and I'm a collector of ideas. And I'm a collector of near misses and those who've missed the mark but still gain momentum and were able to achieve their goals. So I like to liken myself to a very, very silent assassin. I like to be behind the scenes, again strategic, ears always very low to the ground, but eager to jump into the fight.
You sound like Ella Baker to me.
Wow.
You sound just like Ella Baker.
If I was Ella Baker, we wouldn't be having any conversations about the WNBA. We wouldn't be having any conversations about women's professional soccer. We wouldn't be having any conversations about women's sports in general, about there being a discussion if they are financially viable. If I was her, yeah.
One of the in addition to the style that you described, I also thought about how magnificent she was with young people, college students in particular.
She had patience.
She had patience. I can only imagine that you have a magical way with young people.
I have a curiosity like they do, still. I'm not satisfied with the status quo. I'm always curious with, well, why not? Who says? What do you mean can't? Please tell me no. Oh, I'll find a way. Is it possible? Can it really be done? I'm curious.
I also get the feeling that you've built relationships across a really wide spectrum, and that you have worked hard to cultivate, maintain, and dare I say, capitalize on those relationships. Is that a fair statement?
It's a fair statement. It's partially true only because I'm starting to understand myself better. I'm becoming comfortable in my skin, in the sense that I am comfortable saying, I don't know. I have no clue. I'm comfortable admitting when I've missed the mark, or I missed that one. How could I? Okay, well, I'll make it up here. As far as relationships, I'm becoming better because I know who I am, and I'm not afraid to be hurt, and I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. And the best people are the ones who are willing to be vulnerable. Does that open myself up to get hurt? Absolutely. But I'm more fearful of being closed off. And I don't know how much more time I have on this planet, but I'm not living in fear.
That is so powerful. And we had an opportunity to walk through the museum. And as you were talking, I was thinking about all of the vulnerable people who we had a chance to witness and observe, but also all the people who were not fearful. And if they were, they overcame their fear.
That's called courage.
That's
right?
called courage. Could you speak to a moment in the museum that stood out to you, that you will take back home with you?
Tommy Smith. It was Tommy Smith. First of all, just walking and seeing everything, it's an emotional ambush on your senses, on my senses. And when I turned the corner and I saw these young gentlemen with their fists up, and right ahead of me is Tommy Smith. And it was an electricity, it was like a lightning bolt, and I just had to grab him. I said, come here, Tommy, look at this. And we're standing there, and I'm pointing, and then we walk a little further, and we're watching him with a black glove behind him, and I hug him, and he's shaking and crying. I'm crying. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, God, you do operate in mysterious ways. Here's a gentleman who, for whatever reason, that moment moved him to do what he did. The sacrifice, I'm not so sure had he known everything. Afterwards that happened to him, would he have done it? If he had had a chance to just think about it, would he have done it? And to feel all that, and when he started to cry, I said, this is your release, isn't it? And I hope that whatever he felt, he lost, I gained so much from his one moment, one act of courage.
Thank you for who you are and all that you've done for so many people and will continue to do. You're a special person, Cheryl Miller, and we're honored to be with you here at the National Civil Rights Museum.
You are a kind man. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Today's episode is brought to you by the National Civil Rights Museum, located at the Lorraine Motel, the assassination site of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It chronicles key episodes of the American Civil Rights Movement, examines today's global civil and human rights issues, provokes thoughtful debate, and serves as a catalyst for positive social change.